Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're just going to be doing a simple top 50 free agents and where I think they're going to go. Kind of like my predictions. I made it pretty realistic, but I don't know. Let's just get into this. Number one, obviously, is Lamar Jackson. He's going to be a restricted free agent, so he probably returns to the Ravens. And if not plays for the Ravens next year, but he's either going to get franchise tagged and traded, or he's going to resign with them. And I think he's going to be back with the Ravens. I think all of this stuff, like drama with him and the Ravens, is just kind of a facade. But I do have a long shot that if he were to be dealt in a trade, I think the Panthers would get him. I think Atlanta is another place that could go and get him. I don't think the Saints is very realistic. So, yep. And then next with Derek Carr, this is where I have the Saints. This is what I have the Saints getting at quarterback. Saints seem pretty enamored with him, and I don't know how much he's gonna want. I think I've read 30 million. I don't know if the Saints can really pay that, but I think they can work their way around to get a quarterback that can actually play. Haven't had that for a while. Number three, Deron Payne. He is going to get franchise tagged. I doubt he'll be traded, but yeah, I made this before he got franchise tagged, so I wish I could have kept him out, but that is fine. Number four, we got Geno Smith. He's definitely going back to the Seahawks. There's almost no chance that he goes anywhere else, and I'll eat my words if he goes anywhere else, but I think that's almost 99% sure that he goes back to the Seahawks. Number five is Orlando Brown. At number five, I only have him at number five here because the position is just very important. I don't think Orlando Brown's a very good player. I'm a Chiefs fan, so I've seen Orlando Brown I've seen almost every single one of his snaps, and he's a mediocre tackle at best, but it is a very important position, and I think he's a solid player. That's almost all I can say about Orlando Brown. From what I've seen, he's a good teammate and a good locker room guy for the Chiefs. So I think about 20 million. I don't know how I'd feel about that if the Chiefs gave him 20 million for like 4 or 5 seasons, but I think that's a decent contract for a starting left tackle. So number six, David Long Jr. I'm a big fan of David Long. I think he's one of the best young interior linebackers in the entire league. He's great at covering tight ends. He's a vicious tackler. I really like David Long, and I think he's got a very bright future. I have him going back to the Titans just because that's a really big need, and they just cut Zach Cunningham. So I either have them going with linebacker in the draft or free agency, and I think they just want to bring back their guy that they like, and that's David Long. Josh Jacobs at number seven, the best running back in this class. I don't care about Saquon Barkley. He's up there, but I think Josh Jacobs is better. And yeah, not much to say. Josh Jacobs wants to return. Raiders want him back. That's AKA let's get a deal done. And sorry, that's kind of boring so far, but it'll start to change soon. This is the first change. So Javon Hargrave at number 8, I have him going to the Seahawks. Javon Hargrave's a great run defender. He had 11 sacks, as you can see. Great interior defensive lineman. The only knock on him is he's getting up there in age, but honestly, that's really not that big of a knock because he's an interior defensive lineman. They typically play for a while. So yeah, that's a great get if the Seahawks get him. That's one of their biggest needs, and they got a bit of money to dish out to him. So yeah, I think it's a good signing for him. Number 9, Byron Murphy. I have him just going back to the Cardinals. If they lose Byron Murphy, it's a pretty big need there, and Byron Murphy's one of the best young corners in the league. He's Not this season. He didn't play much this season, but last season he was a stud for him. So if he plays like that every season, like he's gonna get a lot of money. I don't know what his contract's gonna look like, considering he's kind of dealt with a lot of injuries. But I'd like to see that. Number 10, this is pretty easy. Saquon Barkley goes back to the Giants. Great running back. He can catch the ball. He did a lot for that offense in the first 8 weeks, and pretty much carried them. And yeah, that's pretty simple to me, to be honest. Number 11, Lavonte David. Great interior linebacker. The only reason I think Lavonte's a better player than David Long right now, but the only reason I have David Long a little bit higher is because of his youth. And Lavonte David is, I want to say, 33 years old now, and I don't know how much longer he can keep up his spectacular play. But the Cowboys need a interior linebacker, and that's where I have Lavonte signing. Number 12, Caleb McGarry. Solid right tackle, like really not bad. Like he's as solid as I get. I think that PFF grade is a little bit overrated, but it's PFF, so it's like it doesn't really matter. And I am signing with the Bears. Bears need a tackles badly. Justin Fields just had no time to throw, so that's why he's always running this past season. So yeah, I have them going to get a tackle in free agency. Mike Gesicki. I like Mike Gesicki, and I think he could be a top 5 tight end, but the Dolphins just don't really utilize him that much. But, I mean, who can blame him? I'd rather be throwing to Hill and Waddle over Gesicki. So, but I don't think he'll be back with the Dolphins, and I don't think he'd want to be back with the Dolphins. So I have him going to the Panthers. Panthers, they're in an interesting spot at tight end. They don't necessarily need it, but it can also really give them a boost if they get a nice like blocking tight end or receiving that tight end. It would open up a lot of things for DJ Moore and Terrence Marshall. So I think that makes sense, especially if they get Lamar Jackson. Obviously, Lamar Jackson likes throwing to Mark Andrews. So if Lamar Jackson's in Carolina, Mike Gesicki might join him. Number 14, Mike McGlinchey goes to the Falcons. Caleb McGarry replacement, and I don't know if the Niners can afford him. And they're solid tackle, really not bad. I think that PFF grade's pretty spot on, just right near solid. Not much else I can say, honestly. He's a good right tackle. Number 15, Marcus Davenport. I am a big fan of Marcus Davenport. The only knock on him is his injuries, but he is an absolute stud if he's not hurt. That's a pretty big if, and that's why he's all the way at 15. At 4-3 DN, he can play a lot of places. But the Bears, I am signing with the Bears. They have a shit ton of cap room, and why not sign a guy who could be great, you know? So that's where I have him going. 16, Eagles. I have the Eagles getting back C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Pretty simple. He was really good for him this past season. 6 picks, that's obviously great. But he was great in coverage. Great cover two-eye safety. Yeah. I think both sides would like to come to an agreement on a return, and I think it makes sense. At 17, Daniel Jones, I just have him going back to the Giants. I don't know if he'll get that $45 million contract that he wants. I don't think he deserves it, but I think he deserves somewhere around 30, 35. And Giants really have no other options. I don't know another team that would give Daniel Jones $30 million. So I don't think there's anywhere else that he could go. I think he's probably just going to get franchise tagged. and settle that dumb debate that he deserves $45 million. I have at 17 here because I think he's a solid QB, and obviously quarterback is much more important than say D end. So yeah. At 18, I have Jamel Dean. I think Jamel Dean's I'd say solid to good cornerback, and I think he's a young player, and I think he's got a lot of upside. Very good in man at pressing. He's a big guy, and he kind of stunts players at the line, and that's kind of how the Bucks have been able to get their players a lot of sacks because Jamel Dean just been able to stop their number one corner on the line, and the quarterbacks don't have a lot of time to throw. And I think he's very important for that defense. And obviously, I see a return to the Bucks because the Bucks are losing Sean Murphy-Bunting and Jamel Dean to free agency, and I think they bring back Jamel Dean over SMB. So that's what I got. At 18, 19, I got Jesse Bates. I'm not the biggest fan of Jesse Bates. I think he's overrated. Kinda. He's an okay safety. I mean, 19's pretty good for free agency. I mean, 19th best player, but I don't think he's a top tier safety. And he's going to get a lot of money this offseason, and I don't think it's deserving. Not that he doesn't deserve the money that he's earned, but he doesn't deserve the contract that I think he's going to get. Somewhere around like $15 million, making him like the third highest, something like that, paid safety. And I don't think he is the third best safety in the league. So, but I have him going to the Browns because I think the Browns would be interested. They're cutting their safety. I'm forgetting his name right now, but they're cutting him just because he hasn't been that good for him. He's been solid, but I think they probably would rather have Jesse Bates, and maybe he'll do good for him. I don't know, but that's what I got. Tremaine Edmonds, I got going to the Steelers. I don't know if the Steelers necessarily need an inside linebacker, but I think they'd like to pair up both the Edmonds brothers. I think that'd be pretty cool. That's kind of why I have this pick here. I think Tremaine Edmonds is a great player. Losing him, the Bills would probably be in a pretty bad spot at interior linebacker, and that's probably a target in the draft if they lost Trey Edmonds. So, yeah, I think the Steelers would love that. Number 21, Jacoby Myers. I think Jacoby Myers goes to the Giants. Giants need a number one receiver. Jacoby Myers is that. He's a guy that's gonna get open constantly. He's probably not the best receiver in the world. He's probably not a true number one, but he's gonna get open consistently, and that's kind of what DJ needs. Jacoby Myers is a solid corner. Jawan Taylor, I have him going back to the Jags. He played really good this season. That PFF grade is not right. Jawan Taylor had a really good season. He's a great run blocker. He's a mediocre pass blocker, but he's still young. I think he's 25. He might be 26 at the start of the next season, but he's a really solid right tackle, and I think any team would really like to have Jawan Taylor on the team, considering he's probably not going to ask for too much money. But yeah, I have him going back to the Jags. Number 23, I got Juju. I can see just a return to the Chiefs. He had a pretty solid season. It seemed at times that he kind of disappeared, but other times he got like 2 or 3 straight like targets, and I don't know, that seems kind of weird to me. But he racked up 933 yards on I think that was in 14 games, maybe 13 games. He missed a couple, but very solid receiver, and I don't think he's a true number one either. Just like I said about Jacoby Myers. However, he's a solid number 2, and he's going to consistently get open. Number 24, I have James Bradberry. I didn't mean to put James Bradberry and Juju back-to-back, but it just kind of happened like that. But I have Bradberry going to the Rams. If the Rams do indeed trade Jalen Ramsey, I think they'd go after a guy like Bradberry as a solid veteran that he's going to turn 30 by the time the league starts next season, I believe, and very, very good cornerback. I think he's the 3rd in this class, in the free agency class, and I think he very well could be number 1. It just so happened that he's number 3 in mine. 17 pass deflections is no joke. That is insane. That could be the highest in the league this season, I believe, or it could be Darius Slay. I know the Eagles team had a lot of pass deflections in general, so yeah, great corner. And the Rams would definitely like to replace him with Jalen Ramsey if they can get a couple picks out of it too. At number 25, I have Zach Allen. Big fan of Zach Allen. I think he signed with the Chiefs, and I think he could play a 3-tech next to Chris Jones or line up on the D-line, on the edge for the Chiefs. I think that'd be really great. I think that would bring a lot out of Chris Jones if you had Zach Allen playing next to him. Chris Jones hasn't really had that second guy next to him that has been able to clear the double teams for him, and I think Zach Allen could definitely do that, and I think that's really important to do if you're going to have Chris Jones signed to a long-term contract, and then after the age of 30, and he's just not going to play as well as he could be if he had a second guy to him, if that makes sense. I don't know, but yep, that's what I got. Number 26, I got the Seahawks signing Yannick Ngakoue. Yannick is a pretty good D-end, and I think this is his career year with 9.5 sacks. He's been to like 3 teams in the past 4 years, something like that. I don't know, but solid D-end, and 9.5 sacks is really good. And I'm a big fan of Yannick Ngakoue. And he's not great in the run, but he can really rush the passer. And as a second rusher, second edge, like Yannick Ngakoue would be a stud if he didn't have to deal with double teams and he had a second star next to him. Like, that'd be crazy. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, Seahawks, Yannick Ngakoue, that's their main need. Number 27, I have Ben Powers going to the Titans. Ben Powers had a great season. One of the top guards this season, in my opinion. And the Titans are losing a ton of their O-line, and I think Ben Powers wouldn't be commanding that much money. I could easily see a return to the Ravens, but maybe the Titans offer him a little bit more, and he decides to go to the Titans. And that's what I have here. Number 28, I have Jordan Poyer going to the Rams, teaming up with James Bradberry, 2 vets that kind of like, I mean, that's kind of the Rams style. They go after vets and they try and win all the time, and it didn't go so well this past season, but I can definitely see that happening this season. Kind of like a last-ditch effort for Stafford and Aaron Donald and Bradberry and Poyer to get another ring for the Rams. Number 29, I have the Broncos getting Draymond Jones back. I like Draymond Jones. I think he's a solid player. I think 6.5 sacks is kind of low for the amount of other players on that team that really like took off. Like Baron Browning. Like, oh my God, Baron Browning was a stud this past season, and Draymond Jones was still kind of like that solid guy on the D-line that just kind of like held everything together. But I think the Broncos would definitely like him back. If they lose him, that D-line is not bad, but it looks a little bit rougher after that one. So, yeah, I like Draymond Jones here. Back to the Broncos. Dalvin Tomlinson at 30. I think Dalvin Tomlinson is a very solid interior D lineman. Good run stuffer. Probably not going to give you a lot of pass rush. But he happened to get 2.5 sacks this season, which is pretty good for a guy that's, main want is to stop the run. And I think he goes to the Bills. Bills have a pretty good D-line right now. But adding Dalvin Tomlinson would just take that to a whole nother level. And they haven't been very good at stopping the run this past season. Like, in the playoffs, the past 2 or 3 seasons, they just haven't been able to stop the run. And I think they might want to invest a little bit more in it before they, keep losing, because they cannot stop the run. Okay. Number 31, I have Evan Ingram going back to the Jags. Jags need a tight end without him. And he was career year in their system. 766 for a tight end is crazy. That's good. That's great. I think he's a top 5 tight end. Maybe top 5. Now I'm thinking about top 5 might seem a little too high, but I'd say fringe top 8, 7 maybe. That's pretty damn good. So yeah, Evan Ingram back to the Jags. Charles Omenihu, I have going to the Bears. They obviously want pass rush. They invested some money earlier. And I think they go and get a solid player in Charles Omenihu, who had 4.5 with the Niners team this year as a backup. Number 33, I think Bobby Okereke can sign pretty much anywhere. I think a lot of teams would be interested in him. But I think the Bucks would be extra interested in Bobby Okereke. Devin White fell off this past season, which I think he'll be back, but you need a second guy, and you're losing Levante David, and you want to replace him. So Bobby Okereke he obviously had a ton of tackles, 151s, no joke, but yeah, I don't know. That's what I got. David Onyemata at number 34. I'm going back to I'm going to the Cardinals. Cardinals losing Zach Allen, J.J. Watt. Probably want to put someone in the middle right there. David Onyemata, solid interior lineman. Yeah, one of the Cardinals' biggest needs. David Onyemata is probably not going to ask for too much. I'd say around $8 to $12 million, somewhere in that range. They can afford that. They need it. So, yeah. Irv Smith Jr. I think this is one of the most interesting free agents in this class, just because he could be a pretty good tight end, and I doubt Minnesota's going to re-sign him. So I have him going to the Giants. Giants could use a tight end. They have a good rookie. I'm forgetting his name right now, and I think he's pretty solid. But I think getting Irv Smith, another receiving tight end, would be pretty good. I think this could be like the Evan Ingram contract, where it's kind of like a 1-year prove-it deal. And yeah, that's a pretty big Giants need. Get another weapon for DJ. Solid deal. Number 36, Darius Slayton. I have him also going to the Ravens. So teaming up with I forgot, but I don't know. There's another receiver going to the Ravens, but I have Darius Slayton also going there, and he's a solid wide receiver. I don't think the Giants used him as well as they could have, but I don't think he's a 1,000-yard receiver, but he definitely is a solid he's a solid number 3, and he's an okay number 2. Number 37, I have the Cowboys getting back Tony Pollard. Great running back. If he didn't get injured, I would have really liked to see the comparison between him and Saquon. But he did get injured, unfortunately, and he's going to have a lot of suitors in free agency, but I think eventually he's going to settle with the Cowboys just because they want him back, and they're willing to pay him. Miles Sanders at 38. This is another interesting one. I highly, highly doubt that the Eagles are going to take him back. And I've read a couple of reports saying they won't, but I mean, it's still possible. But this is another really interesting free agent for me. And I have him going to the Dolphins. Dolphins only have like one, or they have a couple of running backs on their active roster for next year. But I feel like they might want a running back that's like used to just pure running. And Jeff Wilson is a good running back. Okay, maybe. And I think Miles Sanders could kind of open up that offense and humble defenses when needed. Number 39, I have Jacoby Brissett. I have him going to the Cardinals. I don't think Kyler Murray's going to be playing for the first half of the season next year. And I don't know how many years they want to keep rebuilding. So if they go all in this offseason, you might want to get a quarterback to just hold down the fort while your quarterback's healing. That's kind of what the Browns did this past season, and Jacoby had a really good season. I know a 2-to-1 interception ratio probably isn't the best, but a couple of those interceptions were his fault, and almost every single time on the goal line, Nick Chubb ran. So I feel like the stats are a little bit deflated when considering the offense that he was in and what he was asked to produce. And that win-loss ratio, it's not great, but I think the Cardinals, if they can get you at like a 500, if Jacoby Brissett can get you at a 500 point at like week 8, 4-4, I think Kyler Murray can definitely take the Cardinals to the playoffs. So we'll just see, but that's what I got so far. And number 40, I have Isaac Samalo going to the Raiders. Raiders have a relative need at inside or offensive guard, and Samalo was great on that Eagles offensive line that could have been the best of all time. Obviously, that's probably going to make you look better when you're on one of the best offensive lines that you've ever seen. But I think he's a very solid player, and Raiders O-line stinks straight up, and they could definitely use him. And he's not going to be too expensive either. 41, Bears. I have Bears getting Devin Bush. Devin Bush has so much potential, and it just sucks that the Steelers couldn't get that out of him. So I think the Bears might take another shot at a player that can't really seem to stay healthy. Kind of inconsistent play too, but definitely a lot of potential. And that's kind of what I'm basing this off of. He's got a lot of potential, and the Bears might throw, a 1-year deal at him, and he can make his money that way. Number 42, I got Deion Jones. I'm going back to the Browns just because they invested some draft picks in him, and I don't know why you'd let him walk after trading for him at midseason for I think it was a 4th round pick, maybe 4th, 5th or 6th. I don't know what it was, but if you're going to invest that much capital in a guy, I know 6th round pick isn't too much, but you're still investing a pick in this guy, and you might as well re-sign him. What's the point if you're just going to let him walk? Number 43, I got DJ Chark. I have him also going to the Ravens. I really like DJ Chark. I think he's a pretty good third weapon. I could see him also going to teams like the Packers or the Chiefs, just somewhere that can scheme him open pretty much, and guys won't necessarily be focusing on him as much as a team like the Lions did. So, I think the Ravens could maybe properly use him. They obviously haven't used Rashad Bateman or Devin Duvernay as well. So maybe I could see him going to a team like the Chiefs or the Packers just to get some more depth. Number 44, I think Jonathan Jones goes to the Buccaneers. I see Sean Murphy-Bunting walking away, signing with another team, and Jonathan Jones is a really solid veteran. He's going to be 30, or he already is 30, something like that, and probably not going to get any better, but I can't see him being getting any worse anytime soon, because he had a great season, best season of his career this season. And maybe the Buccaneers want a little bit of that magic. Number 45, I just have Samson Ebukam going back to the 49ers. I think he's a solid player, a solid backup. Losing Charles Menahu, maybe Samson Ebukam can take some of his snaps and put some good stats up. 46, Cam Sutton. I'm going back to the Steelers just because if you lose them, like, your corners are your worst position then. So getting Cam Sutton back, a rising star, I think he's a really solid corner. 15 pass deflections, that's great. 3 picks, that's also great. You know, I think Cam Sutton needs another corner next to him, and he'd really, really start to shine. Number 47, I got the Cowboys getting Sean Murphy-Bunting. I think he had a really good rookie season, and ever since then he just hasn't been able to produce as much. I think he could get back to that level. I think he'd be a great safety, or just like a slot corner that's like turns into a safety. I don't know. Sean Murphy is an interesting player, and I like Sean Murphy-Bunting. I just don't think the Buccaneers are going to want him back. So that's why I'm going back that's why I am going to the Cowboys. Isaiah Wynn, he had a really rough season. But I got the Buccaneers signing him. They definitely need offensive line, and maybe they throw $10 million at Isaiah Wynn for a season, and he can play opposite. He can play almost any position on the offensive line except center. He's a better guard than he is a tackle, so maybe that's where you can play him, because obviously their guards suck. I think that's a solid signing. Terrell Edmonds, I obviously have him going to the Steelers, joining his brother. It's like I said earlier. He's a good safety for him, for the Steelers, and I don't know why you'd not want to pay him the $6-7 million that he rightfully deserves. And as the last one, I have Robert Tonyan going back to the Packers to help out whatever quarterback is there. I kind of went back and forth with this one because I think this is another really interesting free agent. I can see him joining a team that has a need at a second tight end, or I can see him joining the Cowboys that probably isn't resigning Dalton Schultz. This number 50 could also be replaced by Dalton Schultz, but I think Robert Tonyan probably is a better tight end than him. That's all I got for you guys today. Sorry it was kind of long, a little bit boring, but just my opinions. I want you guys to comment and let me know what you guys think about all these, and tell me what I did wrong or right. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.